Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes. And today in this video, I'm going to tell you guys a story about how I stopped a nurse from drawing my blood because she brought equipment to do it through my skin, but then I told her I had a broviac. So this is a story about how I was very proud of myself for being aware of what's going on and what was going to happen, and I was very glad I stopped that nurse before she almost drew my blood through my skin. And this is a story just to let you guys know that if you have something like a Metaport or a broviac in your chest and someone needs to draw your blood and they have blood and they're gonna go do it through your skin, you should let them know you have a tube in your chest or a Metaport before they draw your blood, because it's just really important to be aware of those things and just pay attention and to let nurses know, because not a lot of nurses know by heart that you have those kind of things in your chest, so then you can get your medications through, and this is so they make sure they bring the right equipment. So I'm gonna get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope you learned something about how important it is to be aware of what is going to happen and how you should let the nurses know. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, the nurses know that you have like a broviac or a Metaport in your chest before they go to draw your blood through your skin. Here we go. So this all started about 17 years ago. I was in the hospital. This was, I think, a couple days after I had gotten my knee surgery, my big knee surgery, when they took out my femur bone and replaced it with titanium. I was sitting in my hospital room with my mom, and we were watching like a movie. I think we were watching like Cats Don't Dance or something, or was it The Princess Bride? I can't remember, but I know we were watching a movie that day when we were waiting for the nurses to come in and out of the room. And this nurse comes in and she looks like I think this was a nurse to draw my blood. She seemed really nice, and she looked like she was maybe in her 30s or mid to late 30s or early 40s. I'm not exactly sure. And she pulls out this needle for drawing blood, and she's gonna get ready to draw my blood. And I suddenly get nervous because I don't know if this nurse was informed that I had a broviac, and I just didn't want her to accidentally draw my blood through my skin when I already had a broviac to do it. And once the nurse comes over with the needle, I said, "Wait, I have a broviac." And she's like, "You have a broviac?" I was like, "Yeah, the doctor didn't tell you." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." And my mom and I were both relieved because we didn't want her to accidentally poke a needle in my skin by mistake. Because I had already had a broviac in my chest, and she felt bad because she brought the wrong equipment with her. So she had to put the needle away and leave the room so she could come back and get the right equipment for my broviac. And my mom after the nurse leaves, my mom has a chat with me. She's like, "That was very good that you were aware of that, Mena, blah, 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 blah. I was glad that you were focused and you noticed she had a needle for drawing blood through your skin instead of one through your broviac, yada, yada, yada. I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Thanks, Mom." And I was super proud of myself as well, because normally I'm not very good at being aware of those things, but I was super lucky that I was very aware of that, because she could have drawn it through my skin when I already had a tube in my chest for her to draw blood. If I didn't tell her, she probably would accidentally draw my blood through my skin instead of the tube in my chest, and that probably would have been kind of weird if she drew the blood through my skin instead of the tube in my chest. Yes, but although later on there were moments where they had to draw the blood through my skin instead of the tube in my chest just to prevent infection, but that was mostly only when I had fevers. But anyway, the nurse is gone for a little bit to get the right equipment. And she comes back maybe like 5 minutes later and apologizes and goes, "I'm so sorry about that. Nobody told me in the hospital that you had a broviac in your chest, blah, 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 blah." And I was really nice about it. And I said, "That's okay. Because I thought news traveled around the hospital pretty quickly." And I was at a different hospital, just so you guys know, but I guess news doesn't travel around as fast at this hospital, because at the other hospital I stayed at, a bunch of like information, like I had a tube in my chest, or I had a fever, it was traveled around the hospital pretty quickly. But I think just because this was such a big hospital, this nurse wasn't really informed of the information that she needed to get. So once the nurse came back with the right equipment, she starts drawing my blood, but this time she does it with the equipment she had for my broviac, which was the tube in my chest. And I was very glad that she had the right equipment instead of the stuff that goes in my skin. So the moral of the story is, it's very important to be aware when a nurse comes in to draw your blood through your skin. Like if you have a broviac in your chest or like a Metaport in your skin, you should always tell the nurse you have those, because then they can just draw the blood through the Metaport or the tube in your chest before they start drawing the blood through your skin. And there are moments where they may not be able to draw the blood through your broviac or your Metaport, but that's only if you had a fever. That's how they did it for me. I'm not sure how they do it nowadays if you have a fever when you're going through chemo, but they only had to draw my blood through my skin when I had a fever. They couldn't do it through my broviac because they didn't want to risk infection. But if I didn't have a fever, they would draw the blood through my broviac. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. So if you have any of those things in your chest, like a Metaport or broviac, it's very important to let the hospital know that you have those things before they start actually drawing your blood through your skin, because then they can get the right equipment, which will be easy for them. So that was a story about how a nurse came in with the wrong equipment to draw my blood in the hospital. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.